Yo, what up, everybody? This is Mark from Suicide Silence.
And this is Brian Fair from Shadows Fall.
This is Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder here.
Yo, this is Gary Hall from Exodus and recently retired from Slayer, and
Hello, this is Becky Boulder from Humble Grapple and Fury.
Hey, this is Charlie with Anthrax. I just want to give a shout out to Pedal to the Metal Radio, the podcast.
The podcast to get all your rock and metal news plus reviews.
Keep it metal. Pedal to the Metal Radio, motherfuckers!
What's up, everybody? It's your main man, Eddie Monster here, and we've got a special edition of Pedal to the Metal Radio, the podcast. That's right. If you can see me, this is new. That's right. We are finally doing videos with all of our episodes, so please welcome to the latest episode of Pedal to the Metal Radio, the podcast. I'm your main man here, Eddie Monster, and as always, we've got a great show for all of you out there. That's right. We have the Unsigned Band of the Week. We've got rock and metal news. What more could you possibly ask for in this day and age? One of the stories I wanted to start off real quick with, before we really get into anything, usually, you know me, I like to do my spiels and things of that nature, obviously, going into these shows. So, one of the things is this past week is the remembrance of, well, at least of when this episode was recorded, and probably by the time you see this would have already passed. But obviously, we wanted to remember Chester Bennington of Linkin Park. Such a huge loss on the rock community. I don't know what else to really say. There's so many superlatives that I could say about Chester that hasn't already been said. Brilliant, vocalist, brilliant mind. You could feel the pain in his music through his voice, things of that nature. But one of the things I always like to remember about Linkin Park is a story that I always go to. So back in 2000, that's right, the year 2000, I originally was going to this community college called Massasoit Community College because I was a major screw-up in high school, didn't have good grades, just because I didn't give a shit until my parents forced me to go to college. So that was a whole thing in of itself. But anyways, I knew I wanted to do radio. That was like the big thing. I was like, I loved Howard Stern. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. I get to Massasoit Community College. I get part of their radio club, is what they called it at the time. I don't know if it's still referred to that 25 years later. I don't know. But I remember the day we all got in this CD, and it was Linkin Park's first album. And there was something that was with it. It was like a letter or of some sorts, and it was inviting us to New York City for the record release party. And of course, like a bunch of teenagers, eager to explore out for the first time ever in our lives, because we've lived in suburbia and whatnot for so long. We tried to trek to New York. We didn't quite make it. We ended up at a punk show. I don't even know where the hell we were, but we ended up at a punk show because we were going to pick up somebody who was also part of the radio club. But yeah, we didn't make it. That's the story. But it just always was fun because I remember we were all just blown away about what we were listening to. It was different. It was new. I always said, Linkin Park was like the Bon Jovi of nu metal, or the Def Leppard of nu metal. Just that band that had, hit after hit after hit after hit after hit, no matter when it was, no matter what album it was. And they just had the longevity, which was the thing, versus bands like Limp Bizkit or any of the other ones in that genre. So, obviously, he was a tremendous loss in 2018. We know that. You know what I mean? So, it's sad, but we'll always remember, we'll never forget his brilliance and all that good stuff. So, Chester, this one's for you, bud. All right, so in other news, also speaking of, right, the event that's going to happen will already pass by the time this is released, or actually it will be happening, I should say, at the time that this was released. But I want to get into this because this is a really huge topic, a huge hotbed topic that's been going around, and it's because of what Ghost is doing. So Ghost is playing my local arena, which is the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. If you didn't already notice by this beautiful accent that I have, that obviously you guys can all pick up. Anyways, so with that being said, there's a no cell phone policy, right? There's some mysterious thing where it's like you put your cell phone into something and it locks it as soon as, I assume as soon as you enter the actual arena. So when you go to your seats, and it locks it for that duration, right? So if you leave your section, I'm assuming the bag opens up and you can get back on your cell phone. It is something that I know Tobias Forge had tested. If you had seen right here, right now, the concert video, that was the first time he had tested it, was out in California. And he said it was just absolutely brilliant. You know what I mean? The amount of eyes that were focused on him instead of this. You know what I mean? Like, instead of this. I mean, what can you really watch staring at this? You know? And it's more annoying when you're sitting there and you're trying to watch the show, and all of a sudden this just gets put right in your face, and you're like, you know, can I dodge that? Because of course, being only 5'8" and whatever, there's always some giant that's taller than me and then has to put the cell phone up as well. You know, it just always happens at metal and rock shows. I've learned to deal with it. Me and my friends, we will shuffle around because I have tall friends. So they're like, if there's a short person, like, hey, sit over here. We'll go over here. Anyways, so I know that's a big topic. A lot of people are pissed. But what if it's the right thing? You know what I mean? Like, I remember most recently, I was at a concert, and it was King Diamond and Overkill. And I remember, my friend can attest to this, right? Because I remember I looked at her and I said, this is why this is fucking annoying. Because some asshole has to sit there and record a fucking performance on his phone. Right? Even though 9 times out of 10, it's going to sound like absolute dog shit. I mean, you'll be able to make out what the song is and you'll hear it, but the distortion is going to be so much. It's just complete bullshit that we even have to deal with that. And that was literally what I was doing the whole time, was like, you know, oh, can I look over here? Oh, shit, fuck, what am I doing? You know, that's annoying, dude. And you guys should know better. You know, I miss the days back when I first started going to concerts. There was none of this. Occasionally you saw somebody that had a disposable camera and they were like, you know, click. But 9 times out of 10, people were just watching the shows. That's what it was all about. Our eyes were focused. We were watching. We were remembering the memories. Now I get this whole idea, you know, of sitting there and click, oh, there's a cool moment. I just captured it. The fireworks going off. I feel like cell phones are okay at sporting events. Things where it's like, okay, we're capturing a real live memory. Concerts, it's meant for this. You don't see people at the opera or a theater show going like, oh, this is really good, right? I'm capturing everything like I'm supposed to. No, you don't see that. So, we've heard Tool talk about how they hated it. We've heard other bands. Ghost is on the right track, and you know what? I wouldn't blame venues, or artists, actually. I should say artists, if they decided to pull the same policy. You know what? Fuck yeah. It's time that we put the fucking cell phones away. Get off social media. You're at a concert. Enjoy it. Immerse yourself in it. So that you have that memory. You can sit there and you can talk and you can be like, hey, remember at Ozfest 98? Back at Great Woods when we saw Limp Bizkit, well, really Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit dare Lynn Straight of Snot to get a sexual act performed on on him on top of the toilet. Yeah, you remember those memories and how you were laughing about it with your friends because you were like, holy shit, at 16 years old, you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? Right? Those are what I'm talking about. Those are the memories. But you don't get that really with this because you're not living in the moment. Yeah, you've captured it, but you're not living in the moment. It's all about being in the moment, being present with the band. So kudos to Tobias Forge for wanting to do this. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, brother. All right. With that being said, let's take a tiny little break. It'll be time for rock and metal news by the time you see this face.
It's time for rock and metal news, presented by Eddie Monster.
What's up, everybody? Rock and metal news time. That's right. Against me, front person Laura Jane Grace has recently been in the news. We all know that she recently released a solo record, which featured help from her wife, Paris Campbell Grace. But now things are sort of out in the open, and it's not looking very good. That's right. Paris Campbell Grace recently came out and said that she is accusing Laura Jane Grace of spousal abuse right after Laura posted a thread, that simply just said unsafe, right? And I believe it had something to do with equipment, but Paris Campbell Grace had this to say in a statement. This is another example this week of my wife using her massive platform to attempt to hurt me. I'm currently locked in my office with all my belongings and actually really scared. I don't know what to do here, and I have nobody to turn to. She has thousands of people who love her, and it's a great inequality of power. She's been yelling at me since we woke up. I have remained calm, although admit I have cried a bunch after and begged her to please be kind to me and try to have a good day. I, for one, am never a fan of things being aired out publicly, right? But who am I to really judge? I'm not in this situation. I don't know exactly what is going on there. Paris would go on and on and on. I mean, it's long. I could have read that whole entire thing, but it would probably be a whole chapter of this podcast to read it. So if you want to check it out, just go to metalinjection.net. You can read the whole entire thing. She describes a lot of things that are going on within that. So if you want to read it, go ahead and read it. We'll try to keep you updated, though, if anything comes of this. In recent news. But in another story, this one's kind of a sad story, all right? Malevolent Creations Phil I want to say this right. Fasciana is in critical condition and was hospitalized for bacterial pneumonia. Okay, and this is in Montpellier, France. Okay, and according to the band, they're in fear that the infection has spread to nearby organs, which would be very, very bad. It makes the probability of surviving very, very slim if the infection spreads too much. But the band has released a statement, and here's what they say. Dear Malevolent fans, far and wide, it is with immense sadness that we report our helmsman, Philip Fasciana, was admitted to the ICU in Montpellier, France, last night. He developed what the doctors deemed to be a severe case of bacterial pneumonia, which may have spread to surrounding organs. He has been listed as being in critical condition. His family has been notified and will be deciding on the next steps based on what is best for Phil's condition and overall health. We are all crushed to see him in this situation, and it is absolutely life-threatening. So please keep Phil in your thoughts and or prayers with hope he makes a full recovery. Make no mistake, this is a very bad situation, and we greatly appreciate your love and understanding. It is with the support and direction of his immediate family that have requested we finish the remainder of the tour in Phil's absence, as he needs to focus on his recovery. I agree, he should be focusing on his recovery, and we here at Pedal to the Metal Radio, the podcast, are wishing you, Phil, nothing but the best luck. We hope to see you at least healthy. You know what I mean? Healthy and out of the hospital. That's the most important thing. Then afterwards, we can hope to see you back on the road again with Malevolent Creation. So please get better. All right. After the death of Lynn Strait in December of 1998, things looked pretty bleak for Snot, right? I like to call one of the originals of nu metal, because they were there, 97, 98. They were there when nu metal was exploding. And things really, really, really did look bleak for the band. I mean, it was reunions, sort of like lineup changes, things of that nature. Nothing ever really came to fruition. We did see the Straight Up, which was the tribute album that Snot did with all the different singers like Jonathan Davis, LaJean Witherspoon, with that amazing Angel Sun song. But now, in 2025, the band reunited with a brand new singer in Andy Knapp. And they are here to tell you that they are in the studio recording material for a brand spanking new record. That's right. The only thing is we don't know exactly when it's going to come out. It could be late 2025, could be early 2026, but if you are a fan of Snot, then you definitely have something to be excited for. So this is awesome, awesome news for Snot fans everywhere. That's right. All right, so we're moving on to new releases. That's right. These are albums that are going to be coming out soon or within the future. There's always that mysterious band president. That's right. The one that everybody's been crazy about, figuring out who's under the masks and things of that nature. Just another band. But nonetheless, if you're excited about them, you're going to be excited about this. That's right. They are getting ready to release their first EP. That's right. King of Tears, the inaugural EP, which is coming out on September 26th. Make sure you go check that out. Back to the beginning. Some great news. We already know that it's the highest grossing and highest viewed tribute show ever done, right? Live stream, all those things. Awesome. It was fucking fantastic. We already know, right? Well, you're going to have a chance to check out Back to the Beginning, Ozzy's Final Bow, which is going to be entering theaters in early 2026. So make sure you stay tuned here to Pedal to the Metal Radio, the podcast, Pedal TV on YouTube. That way you can always get the information as it comes, because we'll definitely let you know when that's going to happen. I'm excited. I'll go see that, to see the behind the scenes and everything as well. If you are fans of the band Deceased, I've got something special for all of you. That's right. March of the Cadavers. 40 Years of Death Metal is going to be released on August 29th via Hell's Headbangers. That's right. It is a sort of best of rarities album that is going to feature a couple of covers, like the cover of Black Sabbath's Die Young and Venom's Lady Lust. So if you love Deceased, make sure you check that out August 29th. All right, the Acacia Strain has a brand new album for all of you guys as well. It's called You Are Safe from God Here. It is going to be released October 24th via Rise Records. And right now, you can check out the video for A Call Beyond. It's on YouTube, so make sure you check out the new material. The band is super pumped about it. They have this to say. They say the record is unapologetically the Acacia Strain. Take that however you want it. It's angry. It's sad. It's us. We made a record that makes us feel uncomfortable, and we hope it makes you feel the same way, right? All right, and lastly, in our new releases docket here, we've got Biohazard, who is a brand new album. We're super excited for this reunion of the original lineup. They've got an album called Divided We Fall. It's coming out October 17th, and it's their first new album in over a decade. And they've already got a single and video out right now that you can check out. It's called Fuck the System. Make sure you check that out as well. All right, and some tour news. We got a lot of it for you guys. Speaking of the last two bands we talked about, the Acacia Strain is out on tour right now with Body Snatcher, Ingrown, No Cure, and Tribal Glaze. Make sure you check out that tour. It starts July 29th in Detroit, Michigan, and it runs all the way to August 23rd in Worcester, Massachusetts. And then Biohazard is also on tour. They're going on tour with Onyx, Swollen Teeth, as well as another band. That starts off October 3rd in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, when they play The Preserving, and it ends November 2nd when they play Toads in New Haven, Connecticut. So make sure you check that out. That should be a killer fucking tour, if you ask me. All right, Demon Hunter is also on tour this fall. That's right, they're going with War of Ages, Convictions, and Cultist. That tour starts September 19th in Louisville, Kentucky, and it goes all the way to October 11th in Nashville, Tennessee. All right, Ingested is also going on tour. They're going with Of Sulfur and Cell. That starts November 5th in Fresno, California, when they play Full Circle Brewing. And then it makes its way all around the world and then back to California on December 6th when they play Panoma, California's The Glass House. All right, Counterparts is going on tour with Throne, 156 Silence, and Split Chain, which is a tour I would love to see right now for sure. That starts September 21st in Louisville, Kentucky at Louder Than Life, and then ends October 26th in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, when they play the Bronson. Bring Out Your Dead. That's right. Cattle Decapitation hits the road with Aborted, Frozen Soul, Tribal Glaze. I am so pumped for this tour. I finally get to see Frozen Soul. Been looking for, and Cattle Decapitation, who, by the way, are playing all of Death Atlas during this tour. So it starts November 16th in Mesa, Arizona, when they play the Nile Theater, and it runs all the way to December 20th when they play Los Angeles, California's the Belasco. And then last on the tour news, another exciting tour. If you love old school thrash metal, these guys started in 1981. They didn't get as super recognized as a lot of the bands, but they deservedly deserve it, in my opinion. That's right, I'm talking about Dark Angel, who's going to be heading on tour with fellow thrash mates in Sacred Reich. I can never say the Hirax and the Midnight Void. Violence is also going to be there. It's going to be awesome. It starts September 5th in San Diego, California, and ends October 16th in Los Angeles, California at, as well, the Belasco. And the tour celebrates their upcoming album, Extinction Level Event, which is due out later this year, and it's their first album since 1991's Time Does Not Heal. There you go. Make sure you check out all these tours. They all sound fucking fantastic, if we're being honest with each other right now, right? All right. Well, it is time for one of my favorite segments in the whole wide world. That's right. This is something that I've been enjoying doing for the last 5 years on this podcast. If you followed me for 5 years and you know what I'm talking about, this is our musical guest of the episode, the Unsigned Band of the Week, right here. And the band that I chose is not afraid to bend genres, to screw up your algorithm, to get you hooked onto their group. They're coming all the way from the UK. I am talking about the group Martyrs. They're awesome. They've got a brand new EP called Syncline Folds. It comes out July 23rd, which is from the recording of this podcast, not too far away. And they've got a track called Project One, which is a dark, heavy, industrial slab of epic strangeness. That's right. The EP's first three tracks, will be available on all streaming services, with a bonus 2 tracks that will be added to the Bandcamp exclusive free download edition. So make sure you check them out. The band is called Martyrs, and the track is called Project One. We will see all of you right here on Pedal TV or wherever you get your podcasts very soon.
At 4 a.m. Elsa taps the cherry from his cigarette and waits for a red dawn. Chekhov's gun rests in his lap, at his feet Pavlov's dog nods along to the countdown clock of an otherwise silent empty house. Since she's gone, these thoughts have been stacking up, unsung notes in an inescapable song, and now someone other can suffer for what they've done wrong. His right thumb lingers on his left ring finger. He crushes a memory, stamps on doubt, lights another, puts it out and reads her last message for the final time. I'll be alright. Sends a text to his mother, one to his brother, then drowns his phone in the soft soap of the sink. It's time to act, he steels himself, don't look back. There's already been too much time to think. The cancer.